time to get geeked up.
So like we said, football's back tonight. And what better way to celebrate than to kind of take a closer look at all of some of our favorite football movies throughout the years, old and new, kind of doing this. Surprised how many football movies came to mind, see how many we can get through. I guess, of course, I'll open up with no other than Air Bud, Golden Receiver.
Okay, nice. There's the Air Bud contribution to the football world. I mean, he did make one for every sport. Somehow basketball does seem the most logical, however. Golden Retriever...
I don't know. Doesn't football or even baseball seem more logical? He'll suck at the offense, but defense, outfield, can't everybody catch those hot flies?
I mean, there was, like, the whole franchise was based on the one stupid human trick of him, like, hitting the ball off the nose. So they made a movie based on that whole thing, and then, like, all of these spin-offs just seemed ridiculous, but...
Well, throughout spin-offs... Every rule book doesn't say a dog can't play.
I know.
It's that sport, you know.
It's a universal rule of sports.
Exactly.
But I guess you are right, though, in terms of a lot more than I had kind of initially thought of when I got going here a little bit. But and there's definitely like a varied list of some comedy classics as well as then some like real hard-on football movies. However, I guess for me, where you go start off with there, bud, I got to start off with the Rudy's dad. And of course, all of our Netflix and chat listeners know that the highest honor in film is a Rudy's dad. And Rudy being one of those, like, you know, supposedly accurate, you know, even though it's not like I guess a loose biographical tale. Like a loose biographical tale, but definitely a more like serious kind of football, an emotional, heartfelt football movie.
For sure. Yeah, you know my feelings on Rudy. Not a fan.
Not a fan.
I always feel like they should have made a movie about the other guy.
About Vince Vaughn, the real running back on the team.
Exactly. Same thing with like Friday Night Lights. I never watched the TV series, but the movie was exactly the same. Like, the team fucking squeaked into the playoffs. Like, by literally, they do a coin toss in the movie because two high schools are tied. Like, it comes down to a coin toss. So they get to weasel into the playoffs, and then they lose the game. Like, they fucking never do good.
Yeah.
And,
that's one of those, like, they're trying to be different, but, like, you know what, we're going to make the movie about the team that doesn't win the championship. But nobody ever made the movie about the team that won the championship. So
yeah, exactly.
It's like, this is the only people that are making movies about the...
That's why I'm more of a Varsity Blues guy than I am a Friday Night Lights guy.
I guess I had to go there next just because this is the two that we talked about in our last episode for movies turned into TV shows. We got into Friday Night Lights, but which brought me into Varsity Blues. But that one definitely the story of, like, the Texas football culture of, you know, high school football and the shenanigans that go on with the star quarterback and the rest of the team,
Dude,
the asshole coach.
There's another football movie I have on my list, which won't be as popular as some of the bigger blockbuster ones, but I don't know if you've ever seen this movie, but have you ever seen Big Fan with Patton Oswalt?
Yes! It's not on my list, but I definitely did it. Where he's like the obsessed sports talk radio caller.
Crazy obsessed with the Giants and the radio talk show.
Yeah, then like follows him to a strip club and all.
He ends up going to like Philly. Do you think to like kill Michael Rappaport because he's like Philadelphia Fred? You know what I mean?
Yeah, they were like beefing over like sports talk radio phone calls. Dude, Patton Oswalt, Philly Mike or whatever, Rappaport, was so much better at being like a hilarious radio caller. Patton Oswalt was fucking terrible in that movie. He called him up, remember he called him, he was like, and like, we're going to tell the cheesesteaks that the Giants are going to kick their butts. It's like, dude, you are the worst.
Yeah, I mean, plus that's like Rappaport's thing too, man. Like, Rappaport, like, jumps on all those sports shows all the time and does exactly that.
Oh, is that what Rappaport's thing? I've been wondering what Rappaport's thing has been for the last 20 years. I thought it was Beastie Boy interviews and random, like, hey, let's get some asshole to talk about New York, and they get... But
what is Rappaport's thing?
I guess. I mean, a lot of ways to go from there. However, I guess sticking maybe in Philly with Philly Fred. I guess probably Devon's Rudy that I'm not a fan of, but of course the Mark Wahlberg classic, Invincible. About
Vince Papale, the story of Vince Papale, the guy that Dude, that movie's
The old
fucking
Eagles idiot
whack.
fan that like tried out for the team and somehow scored a touchdown in the.
Yeah, dude, that movie's fucking insane. Like, why would you cast somebody who's like born and raised in Philly? Why would you cast like one of the most famous Boston guys ever and be like, "What's up, fuckers? I'm born and raised in Philly." Like,
I know that really was like the big headline. It was so weird that it wasn't a Patriots movie with stupid Wahlberg, but
I remember seeing that trailer in the movies. I forget what we were seeing, but I was with a Redskins fan. And he was like, man, the only reason I would not see that movie is because it's about the Eagles. And I was like, really, dude? Like, that's the only reason I will see that movie.
Honestly, dude, I'm with your boy, and I believe you mean a Washington Football Club fan, but
exactly.
or as he is now anyway. But I'm with him, dude. I 100% boycotted that movie based on the fact as a lifelong Giants fan, I'm not fucking spending money to go watch an Eagles folklore.
Oh no, for sure. But I'm saying, like, he was saying, like, if it was about any other team but the Eagles, that movie looked like good. And I was like, no, it doesn't, dude. Like,
okay, that's true. It's gonna suck whatever team he's on. Yeah. However.
I will go back to a classic one of mine, kind of like in the era of like The Sandlot for a baseball movie, but Little Giants.
Okay.
With Rick Moranis and Ed O'Neill.
Of course.
Dude, fucking
a comedy classic, definitely in terms of like, what do you call these like kids kind? I mean, is it really a kids movie or like a movie starring kids? Yeah, I guess it's probably a kids movie. However, an all-time classic, and like you said, the football version of The Sandlot. But definitely, you get the hilarious little kid with glasses, the fucking lesbian chick, the fatso.
The annexation of Puerto Rico was the kid with glasses played.
Yes, for sure. The Ed O'Neill as the overbearing football dad, and
Ed O'Neill's
the lovable losers.
Movie,
yeah,
I think
for sure.
One of Rick Moranis' like last movies before he just like retired from acting. But the annexation of Puerto Rico, they finally played it.
I mean, I'd say his finest work. Much like Michael Strahan leaving after winning Super Bowl 42, Rick Moranis, time to call it quits after Little Giants. It's not getting any better than that.
I made a lot of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids movies. I'm out. The annexation of Puerto Rico was just a bunch of lateraling. At the end of the day, when they played it, it was just
wasn't it like he hid the ball in his shirt? He pulled the old hid it up his shirt. That's a different one. But I guess for me, I'm gonna stick maybe with a comedy classic of mine. But I'm going early '90s Sinbad and Kathy Ireland, and I believe it was Tom Berenger or like the poor man's Tom.
Bakula.
Who is it?
Scott Bakula.
Scott Bakula. Wow. Now that is a name from the '80s, '90s, but Necessary Roughness, of course, with the old armadillos. And like the 45-year-old back to college and the female place kicker. Pretty great.
Dude, that was
sorry.
Kathy Ireland for sure. I just remember being a kid and like my friend's older brother just being like very young when that movie came out. But like my friend's older brother was like just told me, he's like, Kathy Ireland's the hottest woman in the world. And I was like, okay, man, fucking works for me. So I just like believed that. Like anytime I'd like see Kathy Ireland on TV, I would just be like, oh wow, that's crazy.
Yeah,
but like not really like having like an attraction to her because I'm still a kid, but just knowing I was like, dude, that's
totally
like the
get
hottest lady in the world.
Yes, for sure, for sure.
Necessary Roughness is good. I got a couple I'll throw at you that you might not consider, but kind of are football movies. All right, Ace Ventura.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I mean, Dan Marino's in it. I'm fucking counting it. Like,
Dan Marino's in it.
The Eagles win the Super Bowl in the end, or at least are in the Super Bowl.
You're to assume the Dolphins win. You know what I mean? It's a very
yeah, that's true.
But Dazed and Confused.
Okay. Again, a little bit more of the high school football culture with the jock turned pothead. Stick with the potheads, bro. We'll treat you. We'll show you a good time.
Jerry Maguire is a football movie.
Okay, I guess Cuba Gooding Jr., a football player.
Mm-hmm. And my favorite of all, though, but when I think of, like, honestly, one of the first things I think about when I think of football movies is The Last Boy Scout, the opening scene in The Last Boy Scout.
Oh, yes. Damon Wayans and Bruce Willis.
But the football players just running downfield, shooting all the players coming at them.
Yeah, fuck yeah. I mean, I thought you were. Can I throw one more in there on the note of Damon Wayans playing with the gun on him? Can I bring up Batman Dark Knight Rises? with the football field collapsing as Bane emerges from the earth. I mean,
absolutely. And I'll even throw Waterboy in there too.
Okay, I was actually going to stick with Waterboy as like a full-on football movie. I mean, that's
Waterboy would be the one that, like, I guess it really is.
Yeah.
But all the other ones.
That was my big, like, comedy football movie. Couple more of the real ones, though. Like, probably the best actual football movie for me in terms of college football, especially, but The Program. Okay, you remember that one from the early 90s as well? Like the recluse drinking quarterback and the steroid doing linebacker and all. That's a great, like, especially just the especially a real early 90s, and then kind of everything that you learn about collegiate athletics since then really all, you know what I mean, rings home with The Program, as well as, of course, I guess the professional version of that, but Any Given Sunday.
Fuck yeah, dude. Yep. That movie rules.
Jamie Foxx as the quarterback. Is it who's the owner? Who's the chick? Sandra Bullock or
Cameron Diaz?
Cameron Diaz. Yes, that's right.
Al Pacino's the coach.
Pacino's the over-the-top coach. Lawrence Taylor as the dude that hangs out in the jacuzzi, and
Lawrence Taylor just playing himself.
Literally playing himself.
What a fucking crazy notion to make Lawrence Taylor be like, oh yeah, I'll be like, my character will be doing cocaine and like banging hookers. It's like, what are you doing, dude? Like,
the fucking ink's not dry on the lawsuits yet. In fucking LT.
That movie's great. Al Pacino's house in that movie is Dan Marino's house.
No way. Life. They shot on location at Dan Marino's house.
They shot in Miami. They most of the movie in Miami. Just the NFL obviously wouldn't
using
that
real
movie at all.
Stuff.
That's why they were the Miami Sharks.
And then I guess I got one more, I guess, from the, you know, sentimental but also kind of just like crossover socio impact. But Remember the Titans? The Denzel of the first integrating of like the Southern high school team or whatever. But a fucking all-time great just movie in general. Football, like it happens to be about football, but really more about, you know what I mean, integration and all. But just an all-time great, you know, movie in the sports world in general.
Yeah, it really is, man. I mean, I guess another one kind of like that would be The Blind Side. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But to me, definitely more of a Remember the Titans fan. The movie's fucking...
For sure.
You know, it's one of those movies that, like, you almost want to be like, oh, man, that movie's so great. But every time it's on, I'm like, oh, that movie's fucking great. I'm not crying, you're crying. Sure. I will also say, though, just to, I guess, to top it off, to end it up, just sticking with our boy Sandler, I'm going to say not the Burt Reynolds original, but the Sandler version of The Longest Yard. Not a one-timer, but two-time football movie on the list, all right?
And I'm 0 for 2, as I've never seen either Longest Yard, so...
Oh, no?
Yeah.
I've never seen the original.
You've seen the original?
No, fuck no. I've seen the Sandler one.
Right,
more than once, probably.
Yeah, I mean, that was with Chris Rock. That was like one of the Kevin James, Chris Rock, like everybody in the Sandler Mafia making major bucks.
That's one of those movies, too, where Sandler's not doing a funny voice. Like,
oh, boo. Hence me not watching.
You know, everyone now and then there's those movies where like Sanders like is tough, and it's like, what are we talking about? Like, remember Bulletproof with Damon Wayans and Adam Sandler?
Yeah. I think Rappaport was in that one too.
Ooh, baby, it's time to get geeked up.